What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today is Saturday tournament, and today we are playing the Yveltal Zoroark Gallade deck that has been so hyped right now for cities. Last week it was probably the #1 deck coming into cities, and I know showing those Saturdays probably not the best option, but it took me a little while to figure out a list, and this is a list that I've been playing with. It's probably not the best, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely really good, and it definitely can show the concept of the deck, and I'll explain a lot about the deck. Now, your main attackers are going to be Yveltal and Yveltal EX. We saw these over and over again. You know, Oblivion Wing 30, attach a Dark Energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon, and of course, you want to do this to Yveltal EX. He has the attack Evo It does 20, and then 20 more damage times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. Now combine this with Muscle Band, you're basically doing 40 plus 20 for each energy. So what you're doing, you need 7 energies total to knock out an EX on the active Pokemon, which might seem like a lot, but it's really not. A lot of Pokemon nowadays use 2 to 3 energies. So then you only need, if they're playing 3, you only need 4 energies on you. It's still not that very hard to pull off in the Yveltal. So that's why it's such a strong card. And you can use Y-Cyclone as well. You move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. Usually what you want to do is move the DC off it to the Yveltal to a bench Pokemon, maybe another Yveltal EX or a Zoroark. Now, Shaman's always in the deck, just setup is just such a great card. Now, the new addition to this deck is Zoroark. Has the ability to stand in once during your turn before you attack. If this Pokemon is on your bench, you may switch this Pokemon with your active Pokemon. Now, this is basically Keldio's ability Rush In, but it's printed on Stage 1 card. Now, if you would have saw a long time ago, I did my top cards of Breakthrough, and Zoroark was definitely #1. Now we're seeing it being played a lot, and I mean, I guess I was kind of right. I definitely had a different Yveltal Zoroark deck built at the time, but this one, you know, standard's great attack ability for sure. But my deck is where Zoroark shines. It does 10, and then 30 more damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So that means if they have 5, you're doing 150, and then plus 10, you're doing 160, and then with a Muscle Band, you're doing 180 damage, which knocks out the majority of EX Pokemon in the game. Now, there is other stuff you can do as well. Like, if there's what's called a Rayquaza deck, and they fill their bench up with Skyfield, and then you can actually use Mind Jet to knock out the Rayquazas. There's a lot of different stuff that Zoroark can do. Now, the reason why this deck is such strong, it's always been strong. Yveltal has always been a strong deck, but now it has a new friend, Gallade. Now, Gallade has the ability of Premonition. Once during your turn before you attack, you may look at the top 5 cards of your deck and put them back on top of your deck in any order you like. So that way you know the next card is going to be this card. You know, I know for sure I'm going to get this card, which is a pretty cool ability. But where Gallade shines the most is Sensitive Blade. If you played a supporter card from your hand this turn, or during this turn, this attack does 70 more damage. Now, 70 plus 60 is 130. Now, this is actually a really, really good number, because one of the most played Pokemon in the game right now is this one. A couple cards left over is Shaman. Now, Shaman has 110 HP, but it's resistant to fighting. But I just told you that Gallade, it does 130. Then minus 20, you're doing 110, which can one-shot Shamans, which is great. Now, another thing that this deck struggled, if you look at Yveltal, he's weak to Lightning. Yveltal EX is weak to Lightning. Zoroark is not weak to Lightning, but its main concern was Manectric EX, or more so, Mega Manectric EX. It has 210 HP, it does 100 damage, no, 110, sorry, it does 110, and that can knock out Zoroark, it can knock out your Yveltals, it can knock out your Yveltal EXs, whatever. So what we're going to do is, this is basically your Manectric counter now. It only needs a DCE, and you play 4 of those, which is great. So, what you can do is, you can just Sensitive Blade, knock out a Mega Manectric, and next turn, they can't knock you out. No matter what. If they get a Muscle Band on the Mega Manectric, they're still only doing 130. They're not even they're two-shotting you while you have the potential to take 4 price cards. Now, I know they can play Flash Energies to basically negate that weakness, but even if they do that, you're still two-shotting them while they're two-shotting your Gallade and still taking 1 prize card, and obviously your opponent is not going to have every Manectric with a Flash Energy, and you can still license up and take knockouts that way, and that's why Gallade is such a strong card because of this. Now also, some of the most popular decks in the format right now is Night March. Yveltal knocks out all Night Marchers. It knocks out Joltik. It knocks out Pumpkaboo. Next up is Vespa Queen. Vespa Queen struggles with Zoroark because they usually fill the bench up. Mind Jack can knock him out. You also have Gallade as well. And that's why this deck is such a good deck, because you have so many non-EX attackers that you usually, you don't have to use Yveltal EX anymore. You can use Zoroark or you can use Gallade. That is up to you. And I'm trying to think of more decks that matter or that are like considered the meta. Those are like the main decks. If you watch Wednesday's video, that's what we really talked about. And that's why the deck performs so well, because it can beat all those key matchups in the meta right now. And that's why this deck is such a great deck right now if you have Night March, Vespa Queen, and Mega Manetric. Don't get me wrong, there is other decks that can beat this, but right now this is definitely one of the best decks in the format right now, and it's weird because everybody thought Yveltal EX was dead, but now it's been revived thanks to Kevin. Basically, I want to say basically thanks to the Soong brothers, to Dustin Zimmerman and Kevin Baxter, and everybody in Indiana that played it as well. It definitely got a lot of hype in Indiana because it was 6 out of the 8. I could be wrong, but I think it was 6 out of 8 and 83 make it cut. So that's all the Pokemon in here. There might be other Pokemon you can add in here, but this is definitely the best. This is a really, really good lineup, and it's really solid. There's a reason why Kevin, Dustin, the Sock brothers did so well with this deck. Now, the deck plays 4 Acrobike, 4 Compressor, and 4 Trainer Mails. And basically, it's a copy of Jacob Van Wagner's Archetypes deck. You're going to try to get that turn 1 Maxies into the Gallade. If you notice, we don't play the Curlia and the Routes. So you're going to try to Maxi into this Gallade turn 1 to start using Premonition. Now, you might be thinking, that's really hard, blah, blah, blah. It's not. It is doable. You have 4 Ultra Balls as well to even thin your hand down more. So you have 4 Acrobike, 4 Compressor, 4 Trainer Mails, and 4 Ultra Balls. Now, the deck plays 4 VS Seeker, of course, to reuse supporters. 1 Judge. Now, Judge is kind of good in this deck because you have Premonition. So you can judge your opponent down to 4, and then use Premonition next turn to make sure you hit a supporter card. Not all decks can do that, and when you do this and you combine this Premonition, you're good to go. You know the following turn that you're going to be set up to go, and if your opponent has a dead hand, you're going to usually win the game. The deck plays 2 Lysander, 2 Maxis. Now, if you don't know what Maxi does, you can only use it when it's the last card in your hands, but you put a fighting Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench and draw 5 cards, and that's why the deck is so strong. It also plays 4 Sycamore, discard your hand, draw 7 cards, and it plays 2 Parallel Cities. Now, the reason why I'm playing Parallel City is another deck that's really popular is Bronzong decks. Bronzong decks have been around. There's Bronzong Metal, there's Bronzong Dragons, and there's also Romatees. And with Parallel City, you're basically making where they have 3 bench Pokemon. You're basically having this side on you to choose where you the grass, fire, and water reduced by 20. You're going to put it where they only do 3. And this is also your counter stadium. Just in case if you do need a counter stadium, maybe you need to bump a Silent Left so you can play your Shaman. I don't know. Maybe they're playing... Is Team Aqua Secret Base? I think it's still legal. If they play that card, you can bump it. So we only play 2. It's not that crucial. It's definitely something to keep in here. Another card, if you're still scared of lightning Pokemon, you could play Shadow Circle. It makes it where, I think it's where your dark Pokemon with dark energy, or is it anybody with dark? Hold on, we're going to find it real quick. Make sure I tell the correct wording. I keep clicking the wrong cards. Shadow Circle, we'll pop it up real quick. Each Pokemon that has any dark energies to it, both yours and your opponent, has no weakness. So that way your Manetric and Mega Manetrics, oh, I'm clicking the wrong things, don't have weakness. So that's another consideration you can put in here instead of the Parallel City. 2 Floatstone just to go Zoroark because you have to stand in. You're just going to stand in, retreat. No need for Switch or AZ or all that stuff. I've seen some lists play AZ, I guess, so that we can reuse Shamans, pick up it so you have another spot on your bench. But you just want to be careful with your bench, like always. And of course, if your opponent plays Skyfield, then you're good to go. You can play whatever you want, bump it with Parallel City, and discard those Shamans. 3 Muscle Bands so your Pokemon do 20 more damage, 4 DC, and 7 Dark Energies. And this is the deck. I think I've covered pretty much everything in all the main matchups. Of course, you can play against anything. The format's so wide open right now that we don't know what's going to happen. But right now, this is the number one deck. It is not. I mean, it's not the number one deck. Sorry about that. It is one of the best decks right now. I'm not going to say it's the number one deck. We don't know what the number one deck is. It's only been one weekend of cities, and right now there's another weekend of cities going on the Saturday, Sunday. So we'll see what happens this weekend. Maybe this weekend there'll be a new deck that rises. We'll have to see. The stuff we'll have to adapt for sure, especially with Zoroark using Mind Jack. That's such a great attack. You know, just 10 plus 30. Take a knockout on EX Pokemon, which is really great. And what you're going to see now is the later videos. There's 3 rounds. There's Saturday Tournament 1, 2, and 3. Basically, in the tournament's online, you play 3 rounds, and then if you win all 3, you're the champion. So that's what we're going to see. We're going to see 3 rounds with this deck. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this deck. If you have any questions, leave them down below to the comments, and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and hopefully enjoy the other rounds. And, alrighty. Bye.